Hello, everybody. Welcome to another live stream from Simply Nerdy. Thank you all so much for joining us. First of all, I just want to, I guess I should announce the panel first. We've got myself, Stephen, we got Austin, we got Anthony. And first of all, we just want to give a huge shout out to our new subscribers from Dragonsteel Nexus. Thank you so much for subscribing to our channel, for participating in our raffle giveaway. It was so fun to meet all of you. The atmosphere was crazy high of positive energy, and just it was so much fun getting to know all of you at Dragonsteel and connecting with you that way. And congratulations to all the winners that got the Diamondback nozzle, that got the Shard Blade, and what have you. And it was so much fun.
Yeah, it was a huge success. It was absolutely. We had a lot of fun, and we hope that you guys did too. We look forward to seeing your comments, maybe popping in on streams or our videos now and then, and we'll definitely feature you in the future too. We took some pictures of some of the winners, so looking forward to sharing that with everyone.
Yes, definitely more content to come. Sorry, Anth, go ahead.
Thank you all for engaging with us. It was a like the others said, it was great to meet you all, and fun way to kind of engage in our favorite nerdy topics while also sharing it with all of you. So hope you stick around with us.
Absolutely. And again, thank you again for all of those who let us take images of you or pictures or videos to showcase your awesome cosplays that were absolutely incredible. Like I said, more content to come for all of that. Tonight, though, what we wanted to do is talk about everything Dragonsteel. There was a lot that was happening at this year's Dragonsteel, and having much. One day as exhibitors, we felt like we got dealt the shorthand.
Yeah, that's an understatement. There was it was jam packed with panels that we were all interested in seeing. There were a lot of really cool booths at the exhibit hall. There were other things, the entire mini game sequence that was it Brandon himself, or was it Brotherhood game? Who was the one that designed the whole scavenger hunt? And I feel like it couldn't have just been Brandon. He has multiple teams that do this kind of stuff.
Was that Backer Kit? Was that the Backer Kit one?
Yeah, well, their Backer Kit was the scavenger hunt, but then there was all of the stamps and doing all of the different tasks and filling out the passport.
Sorry, I was thinking you were talking about.
You are correct.
The scavenger hunt. I
said scavenger hunt, but yeah, you're right. That one's technically just the one activity, but I'm referring to the entirety of this like side quest design, this approach, which we'll get into, are some of our favorite things about this this convention, and that for me was one of the top things, I think.
I totally agree. Sucked in all of my time. Well, how about we start off with some of the announcements that were made, and then we'll get into our personal thoughts of Dragonsteel and all that goodness. There were a lot. Well, there were some decent announcements in here. I wouldn't say maybe not a lot, but there were some good ones, some good announcements. Let me share my screen real quick, and we'll go over that. Let's see. Okay, this might be a little bit messy, but we're going to try. Oh, Austin, will you fix the layout for me?
Oh, yeah.
Because I can't do that while I'm doing this. All right. First of all, we got some news about Dragonsteel Plaza. So, yes, as you already know, most likely, if you're here already, they have property in Pleasant Grove. I really wish they would have purchased the land that that was next to theirs. That used to be what is it called? Wow, now I'm
you're thinking of
what is it? It was Evermore. Evermore?
Yes, I almost
yes.
Evermore area. Yeah,
that's right. I wish they would have got that. They could have been a lot bigger space, but it's okay. They didn't purchase it. It wasn't them. Yeah, go ahead.
We got a comment down below. Just wanted to read it from Xander Yub. Hey, nerds, good to see y'all this weekend. Dan Wells was the main guy behind the story decks, I believe he says.
Oh, thank you so much, Xander.
Talk about being, I think he did talk about being one of the ones to pitch it. Although I think it was kind of an idea between him and Brandon. I don't know if he was the one who originally pitched it, but
on the cards that you got with all of that, it did say written by Brandon and Dan Wells. So they both
it varied. So there was the 3 stories. One of them was a partnership between. So I think Sanderson, of course, if I remember correctly, Sanderson worked on all 3, but he partnered with someone different. So one of them was with Dan.
Yes.
One of them was with Isaac.
Yes.
And then the last one was with who was the last guy?
I don't have the cards anymore. Austin. I'm just kidding.
I have them.
We will go over
well, anyway,
that.
yeah.
Like I said, yeah.
It was a really cool collaboration between them. And honestly, I'm not much of a collector.
It's on the very first card.
Oh.
Underneath the title.
Yeah, it says who it's.
It says the title of the short story and then the authors.
Well, there's one by Brandon Sanderson and Isaac Stewart.
Yes.
Sorry, they're in individual boxes, so I have to go through them one by one.
Each for one individual story. We didn't get the binder; they were sold out. There's a
well,
nice binder.
I will get a binder eventually.
Yeah, we will.
One of these days.
Brandon Sanderson and Dan Wells was the Chasm Friends. And then, let's see. Last but not least, we have... I think this is the Yasna one.
Yes.
Else Caller. Also Brandon Sanderson and Dan Wells.
Oh.
Sweet.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
So, okay. There you go.
So just the one with Isaac. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But yeah, go ahead, Ant.
I was going to say I'm not much of a collector. I mean, the most I tend to collect are books, as you can see by my bookcase back here, mostly Brandon Sanderson themed. But other than that, I'm not much for collecting. But the moment they put Cosmere related stories on the cards, that was all it needed to get me engaged.
Hook, line, and sinker. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, well, and especially, so the Chasm Friends is just kind of, fun stuff. But from what I can tell, the one about Lopen and the one about Yasna are both stories directly from, the Stormlight Archive books from different viewpoints that just sound fascinating, the little I've seen so far. So I'm... yeah, that was enough for me. It was funny. Most people were over there. Well, a lot at least were like, "Do you have a hollow nonsense card of this one?" And I'm like, "No, but do you just have story number 51 of such and such?" All I care about was the story ones. All the others, it's just like, have it. I don't care. Give me a story. That's
yes.
Anyway, that's me. So that's all I had to do, and I was very engaged.
Nice, yeah, for real. It was such a fantastic experience. We'll get into a little bit about what that was all about in a minute. But Austin, Anthony, do you guys have any thoughts about the Dragonsteel HQ that is now called Dragonsteel Plaza?
I feel like it's kind of too early for me to have a ton of thoughts, other than that I'm looking forward to it opening, and it's conveniently close to my own home location, so I'll definitely be popping over there regularly. I'm excited for what they put there. Other than that, I guess I'll just wait to be surprised.
Yeah, for me, it's I'm not sure if the name change was pertinent to any lore or anything. I don't know why they decided to go with Plaza instead of what was it before, Dragonsteel
Village,
Town,
I think.
Village. Yeah,
or,
yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway,
it was Dragonsteel Village.
I don't know if you guys have had a chance to go to Evermore before, but when I heard that there was going to be a Dragonsteel in that general area, I was like, oh, maybe they're the ones that bought the Evermore area and are going to reuse that. It didn't end up being the case, but I'm still looking forward to seeing what they're going to do and making it a semi, probably not as often as Anthony might go, but I would definitely will make it a somewhat occasional trip.
I'm sure they're going to
Well, I
start
mean-
having their Dragonsteel Nexus events there at the very least.
Oh yeah. Well, if that's the case, then I'll be there for sure.
Because
Go
I mean, is it going to be a big enough venue? It doesn't seem like it would be.
okay, maybe you're
near big
right.
enough to-
Maybe you're right.
I mean, they don't even use the full, not even close to the full extent of the Salt Palace, and it's still a really large space they take up. So
that's why
unless
they should have.
unless Dragonsteel Plaza is going to be a lot bigger than I thought, I don't think it's going to replace the venue.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So the other information we have from it is it's going to serve as their headquarters, their bookstore, their event venue. They've been working with the Will Group and Method Studio, and they're doing a lot and experimenting and exploring with different options of what can be, well, both what they want to build and different funding options. So more to come on that. Moving on. Oh, you are sharing my screen.
You skipped past
Sorry.
like a bunch of big things there.
I did on purpose. I'm going the opposite direction. Are you sharing my screen again, Austin?
I
Go
can.
ahead. Yes, go ahead and turn that on now for me.
Yeah.
The next one that he announced was the Celsius 232, and that is a convention held in northern Spain. He will be attending. I don't really have a lot to say about this, so I'm just going to move on. But that is good news for Spain, and anyone in that part of the earth that I do not live by.
Yep.
Good for you.
I wish
That's
I could go, but I don't have money like that.
Would that be sick?
plus I already
That'd be
spent
such a cool
ton of
trip. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
That'd be such a cool trip. The next thing they announced was Dragonsteel Nexus 2025 for next year. Thursday, December 4th through Saturday, December 6th. Another 3-day event. Book your accommodations soon. Anything to say about that, boys? Nerds.
I can just say that after this one was my first Dragonsteel Nexus, and I have a lot of catching up to do. I have to finish reading the Stormlight Archives so that I don't, number one, feel so out of the loop, but number two, can stop trying to avoid spoilers the entire time.
I'm so sorry, Austin. That's
no,
all I was.
Hey,
So bad for
I
you.
walked into it, man. I knew what I was getting into. And anyway, it was a fantastic event, and I had fun nonetheless. And so I'm looking forward to next year, and hopefully I'll be better prepared for it. And I think that as a channel, I think that we'll also have some real fun ideas about what we can do as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure. I really enjoyed being an exhibitor. I don't know if we have any plans to do it again, but I think we are. They're definitely exploring the idea right now. Nothing to announce from us yet. So we are in the brainstorming phase for now. But this was mine and
Got a whole year.
Anthony's second. Yeah, we have a whole new year to think about it. Or maybe not. Whenever the tickets go on sale. But this is our second Dragonsteel, and we absolutely loved the first one. Anthony, how did this one measure up from last year's?
I feel like they had a lot more options this year. There was a lot more attractions. Like we've already covered, the whole like going after the story cards and doing the passports. All that was super fun, and it just seemed like they did a lot for the fans there. Like one of the things that I really enjoyed is it was the release of Wind and Truth. And so it was very Stormlight focused in its theming. Although just, Cosmere more generally for some of its references, certainly inside the passport. And one thing that I thought was fun is that the board game area was themed after Detritus, which is non-Cosmere.
That was interesting.
Yeah, right there. You have a year to get Brandon Sanderson on the show next time. Well, that would be awesome. Hashtag goals.
For real.
Yeah.
But show that again while he's talking. Show that again.
I cannot see if I'm centered because I'm sharing my screen.
No, I'm trying to highlight you. I'm trying to remember how we do that.
You click on my window, I think.
I did.
No, never mind.
Oh, drag to reorder. Oh,
well,
there
anyway.
we go.
There, yeah. See, look at that nice looking. And it just went kind of bad. Anyway, but you can see there was notations of characters there that presumably were they're in Cosmere characters is what it seems like. And so the guy there who was making a note to I guess this editor person, this editor lady that in this fun little imagination, was the one to put the passport together. He says, don't include fictional, fantasy worlds in official documentation. It's confusing. And the thing that I thought was fun is that, my first thought was, did they just make the story of Skyward be an in Cosmere fantasy?
Right.
Like
they made that connection somehow.
Are we going to start getting more references? I mean, maybe it would probably be more in like the space era, so maybe we won't see it for a while. But it would be really interesting and kind of funny to find, characters in future books making references to this fantasy story about Spencer, and it's just fun little Easter eggs like that. They put a lot into it. So a lot of really cool things to do this year. I also really liked the store.
I was going to try mine. Maybe my camera will pick up on it a little better. Here, I'll...
Excuse me? What are you talking about? My camera's great.
No offense. No offense. And then let me...
It's trying to not be blurry. But
I just got to back up a little bit. There it is. So it says,
sort of.
There we go.
But Barbara, I will not tell you again. Do not include your deluded fantasy worlds in official documentation. It is inaccurate and confusing. Zort Phylos. And these are the activities that you had to complete over here to get a stamp right here. So you see all the stamps that you get. This is the passport that you have to fill out by doing all the different activities. This was such a brilliant idea.
It was
I really
amazing.
I hope they bring it back. So they have a map, of course, of the entire event. Then
Which is
nice. Yeah, and then they just every single page, as you see here, is just filled with different stamps for the different rooms that have
for the different worlds. Roshar had its own stamp. Schedule had its own stamp.
Malthus, Lumar.
Oh
yeah.
My word!
And then, of course, you have the exhibitor hall. So we have. I
love that DDF stamp.
All of these little stamps. Everyone, the first 2 rows are required, and then these ones are optional. If you wanted to get extra cards, you had to black out, or I don't know if you had to black out or just get the required. But blacking out did get you. Yeah, blacking it out did get you a pin. Yeah, and an extra stamp. In fact, the very last page, you get this certificate and a double color stamp thing. They stamp once with blue, once with red, and anyway, it was very cool.
It was amazing.
You should show the pin, Austin.
I have it downstairs. I'd have to run downstairs.
I have it with me. I can go get it.
Never mind.
Yeah, Steve's got it.
Oh. Well, cool.
But it was but the lines seemed really long. They told us a 2-hour wait, but we were only there for 45 minutes, I think, between you and I switching places, and
it went a lot faster than they were thinking. But there was still quite a bit of lining up and waiting for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but it was. There was a lot of cool ideas that they brought to play, and then also I was going to say again
there's the pin.
Yeah, there's the blackout pin. Super nice
and pretty.
The store, I feel like that was a lot more friendly. Well, first of all, it seemed like most of the times that I went there, at least, there was not a gigantic line. You could just kind of walk in. There was a lot more open space to go browse. The craft room was pretty cool. I'm not usually a crafty kind of person, but they drew me in with those stamps for sale. And there was one craft in particular that just captured my imagination, which is kind of funny because it's basically a glorified paint by numbers, but as a very left-brained paint by numbers kind of person,
paint by
very
numbers expert mode,
minded.
More like.
I loved it. It's very cathartic for me, and so I was sitting there, just this gem art. Like basically, imagine a really detailed pixel art style thing, but you get these gems that are colored and coded based on the placements on it, and then you just stick them in place.
Okay, that's what
It
that
was the Roshar map.
So Anthony, you were explaining to me that it was a gem art thing, but I didn't make the connection. I remember seeing people roll it out and lay it out, but these are like tiny, tiny gems, and they would place it in the color
That's
by number
why I
thing and
say
have
color by
the
code
pixel
expert
art.
mode. Yeah.
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 That was really cool to see. So I'm glad you got one of those. That's really awesome.
It's so cool.
It was super fun. I really enjoyed it. They had two really cool ones. So there was one that was a map of Roshar, and then there was another one that was kind of a stylized artwork of representations of different characters from the Way of Kings, the first book. I went with the map of Roshar because that's very much more my style. I'm the type of person who likes references, to like not just artistic, abstract representations of characters, but rather like this is Roshar kind of thing. So I went with one of those, and I'm excited to work on it. And I've also been thinking like some cool things I could do with it. So I'm gonna frame it and hang it up somewhere in my little office area here. And I also, this might be, I don't know if this is possible, but there was a part of me that was thinking it would be super cool if I could find a way to have like a backlight so I could flip it on and have the gems be infused.
Okay.
Ooh, almost like the what do they call that in the 90s? The light brights or whatever.
Yes,
Yeah.
You remember those?
Light brights as a kid.
You're dating us, man.
Yeah.
Hey, I was about to say this, Abigail. Thank you so much for your comment. I'd love to see that map when you are done, and I think the rest of us would too.
Yeah, especially if you get that
I'd
light.
love to see that.
We'll have to feature it on the channel at some point.
We will definitely feature it on the channel.
Either
Just
that
also
or
need to
in the
feature the Legend of
Discord or-
Zelda Deku tree that you've built, Austin.
Oh, you
Still
know-
haven't seen that yet.
Oh, yeah.
At some point, I have.
But that's another discussion.
Yeah, I have the Breath of the Wild version done. I still need to do the Ocarina of Time version. So
You need to
maybe
take some
around
pictures
Christmas
before
time.
you change it so we can feature it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You could just have us over to help you out with that.
Yeah, we could knock it out in like.
Unless you
20
want to do it
minutes.
yourself.
It would be super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Barely
if we
an
all just hopped
inconvenience.
on. All right.
But yeah. Anyway, I enjoyed it. Sorry, someone else take a turn.
Yeah. So I was just going to go on to the next set of news that we got real quick. Boop. And that is for next year, coming December 9th, 2025, we're going to get tailored realities. This is going to be works of science fiction and fantasy. It's going to be a new short fiction collection, including the never before published novella Moment Zero.
This is the one that he did a live reading of, right? We didn't get to that.
Yes.
Didn't he say? Maybe I'm remembering correctly, but I feel like he described this, at least the way I interpreted it, is basically a non-Cosmere version of the Arcanum Unbounded. It's basically a collection of short stories, but they're extraneous to the Cosmere. Is that what you remember?
Yes. That sounds about right to me. But yeah, I don't have many thoughts of that because I only heard a little bit. But what I heard, I really enjoyed.
I mean, I'm excited. Honestly, even though the Cosmere is my favorite, anything in the Cosmere is, are my favorites of his books. Sometimes I feel like the times he's allowed to get the most creative is when it's non-Cosmere, because he doesn't have to try and connect it to any other existing systems. He can just kind of play with whatever he wants. One of my personal favorites is The Rhythmatist. I'm still waiting for that sequel, so I'm just glad that's one of the things he promised.
I haven't read it yet because Anthony's like, I'm still waiting for the sequel. Don't read it until the sequel's here. I'm like, yes, sir. I'm waiting for the sequel before I read The Rhythmatist.
The Rhythmatist is for me at least, the only book where the wait between books has been about as bad as it is for most authors. As Sanderson fans, we're pretty spoiled. Anytime we're like, oh, it's going to be really hard to wait for such and such a book. Well, then he gives us something else from a different book, and we're going to be okay. But the wait between Rhythmatist and the sequel has been over a decade, and that is so
long.
That's more of the usual. I feel like at least the George R.R. Martin and Patrick Rothfuss experience. I'm sorry. I I haven't read their books, but there's a reason why. I'm waiting at least until I know that there's going to be a conclusion. Anyway,
That's fair. That's fair.
my little rant about the Rhythmatist. I can't complain very much because Sanderson is so prolific and so good at writing, but that's the one I'm going to rejoice when he finally releases. Anyway,
Agreed.
So, quick question for people who are currently watching. We've got about just a handful of viewers. From all of the books that you have read, I'm curious, what is your favorite Brandon Sanderson book currently? Out of it doesn't matter if it's Cosmere or
Cosmere,
not.
non-Cosmere. Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm curious. Is Emperor's Soul part of the Cosmere? Oh, you already showed it.
Yes.
Oh, yes, it
Yes.
is.
It is.
Yes.
It takes place on Cell, the Elantrian world.
If you read Elantris, this is like a Elantris 1.5, 1.2.
No, I wouldn't describe it that way.
Really? How would you describe it?
Oh my goodness! It honestly, the way the book reads, it feels like it's a completely different world. The magic system is completely different.
Oh, jeez.
Have you not read Emperor's Soul, Steve?
No. I've started
my
it.
God!
What? I'm working on it. I just get distracted.
I'm going to
from
tell
other
you
things.
right now. I'm going to tell you right now, Steve. The Emperor's Soul is probably by far his best novella, bar none.
That's what I've heard.
It is
and that's why I need to read it.
mind-blowingly good.
So hang on,
and
because you said it's in the same world as Elantris, right?
Yes.
For a
Yes.
Brandon Sanderson newbie, like myself or any others that are watching, would you recommend starting with Elantris then, or Emperor's Soul?
They're standalone enough on there that it doesn't. I don't think it really matters.
I agree with that statement.
Though I suppose I'll put it this way: Elantris was Sanderson's debut novel, so it's probably, in terms of writing quality, maybe the one you'd want to read first, especially since, although Emperor's Soul is very bite-sized, it's like 150 pages, so it's one of his shortest novellas.
Yes, it is.
Mm.
But it's still one of his best. And that's saying a lot.
Wow,
That is saying a lot.
that's incredible.
What they did with that one, not just in terms, what he did with that one, and I guess maybe he worked with the team, so I can keep it as they. But anyway, the magic system he introduced, it seems like Cell probably has the most variety of magic systems. I mean, you just look at your passports from Dragonsteel, and you'll notice how many different systems it says it has. Forgery is the one that is used in Emperor's Soul, and it's a fascinating idea. But even more, it's a very interesting, philosophical exploration that just, oh my heavens, it makes you think, and it does. He does an incredible job. So,
I'm
Steven,
excited.
you have to read that one. So do you, Austin.
I'm very much like Abigail. I get distracted by other books.
Yeah.
But I promise. I will go back. I will read it. I promise.
Well, it's 150 pages, so it's going to be a pretty quick one.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Well, that's the one I'll have to put on the top of my list then, I guess.
Yeah, right. We have another comment from David's son. He says, hard to choose an overall favorite Sanderson book. I can at least say my favorite standalone book is Tress of the Emerald Sea. Abigail, that comment was for you.
Yes.
Absolutely. I absolutely love Tress. Tress yeah.
I haven't finished it yet, but it quickly became one of my favorite. I can see that one being like my favorite standalone book of his. I just love the humor in it. I think it's very clever. It's very reminiscent of The Princess Bride for me.
Loved it.
And it's just got some great. I don't know if you'd call it magic, but just the whole entire system that they have in their world is really cool. The spores,
so unique and so cool.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'd love to see an adaptation of that. I don't know. That's got to happen. One last thing.
It's going to happen eventually if we get there.
We're going to talk about that in a minute. We will talk about adaptations here in just a bit. First, I wanted to say the last announcement we got. And I want to know Anthony's thoughts specifically because I know you've read The Wheel of Time, but we got the announcement that The Wheel of Time will be receiving a Dragonsteel leather edition with
Sorry, you
new
stopped
artwork,
sharing, by the way.
a few changes.
Yeah, there we go.
I did. Austin, fix it.
I was waiting for you
Oh, there
to
we go.
find what you were
When did
trying
I
to
stop sharing?
find. There you go.
Oh, I'm showcasing the art, so I'm going to be switching through some screens.
So
Anyway,
wait, go back to, is this
some,
the first one? This isn't the first page that they showed.
This is the first one. This is the first
It
one.
is?
Yes, this is the first
Oh,
one
okay.
they showed. Yep, this is the second
they're
one
showing-
they showed.
They're showing here. So
The
the one on
old
the
and the
left
new.
is the original designs in the original books, and then these are basically the embellishments that they use to make it, even nicer.
They wanted
Yes.
to keep it true to it, but still add a little bit more of that embellishment, which I thought was really cool.
Yes,
Some awesome
We saw that
artistry
first
there.
one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The book itself looks incredible. So here's how I'll put it. I think it's safe to say that this is probably one of the most earth-shattering announcements they made at Dragonsteel Nexus 2024.
I agree.
Because the Wheel of Time is one of the most universally beloved fantasy series, and I have to credit it for I give it a lot of credit for the fact that it was one of Sanderson's primary inspirations when he was kind of up and coming, and so I give it a lot of credit for that. And I have to say, again, as I established before, I'm not much of a collector. Leather bounds are an exception. I have not bought any yet because I am not rich. But
No kidding.
if I were to be a collector,
Yet.
it would be leather bounds. Yet. Anyway, yeah. So I would be a collector of leather bounds, and so that definitely captures my future imagination, I guess is how I'll put it. The way I would describe my thoughts on the Wheel of Time itself, it's kind of complicated. I did read the series. I admit that the reason I started in the first place is because I learned that Sanderson was the one who finished the series, and that was enough for me to want to read the whole thing because I'd vowed that I would read everything that Sanderson ever wrote, and so that's what got me reading it in the first place. I'm also kind of critical of the series, but in the end, basically the way I'd put it, I don't want to go on a huge tangent here. I'll just say it's a series that I think every serious fantasy fan should read at least once. I think that there are some books or at least some segments in the series that can be very easily skipped. Looking at you, book 10, that is literally one of the most worthless books ever written, where literally nothing happens, and you can ask almost anyone, even the avid fans, and they'll say, yeah, book 10. It's the book was so bad that it broke my oldest brother, and he will not read series until they are 100% finished. It was that book. That is the one that broke him.
Oh my gosh.
And the only reason I was finally able to get him to start Stormlight is because I was able to tell him that the first arc has a conclusion now.
Yes.
So that is how badly book 10 of Wheel of Time broke him. It was just...
I did not know that.
It kind of got just a little bit too... I would describe it as greedy, just trying to tell too much of a story, and I don't know, I think some of my siblings would call it, Jordan got a little too excited about how much money he was making off of this thing. I don't know if that's what it was. All I can say is that it got lost in a lot of fluff, and that was something that bothered me a lot. And I think personally, I'm going to get off my high horse in just a second, but personally, if the series, which is 14 books long, had been shortened to 7 books, I probably would have had no complaints. It's there's an awful lot of unnecessary details, including his favorite thing to describe, which is the sequins on women's dresses, mostly the Aes Sedai. The way that they fussed at their puffy lace. Like I you know what? You wear your puffy lace. That's great. I'm sure you look great, but don't
spend pages on that adds absolutely no value to the
No,
to the
and so
story.
I'm not even kidding. When if you took out every reference to women's fashion from the Wheel of Time, you would probably drop 2 entire books just from.
Well, I have to admit,
I'm probably exaggerating a little bit, but that's how it felt. Anyway, sorry. What were you going to say, Steve?
no noise. I was going to say, I think the release of this leatherbound. I'm probably not going to get the leatherbound because, like Anthony, I'm also not rich. I think, and yet. I also prefer digital books over. I love my Kindle books. I love my Audible or any kind of audiobooks. I love audiobooks. So, but still, with the release of this leatherbound, I think I'm going to start reading The Wheel of Time sometime next year.
Ooh.
And give it a try because I have still not read it yet.
You said you're going to start with the leatherbound, Steve?
I will start with book 1.
Are you going to get?
I'm probably not going to get leatherbound. No, I'm probably just going to get it.
I see.
But I will start reading it nonetheless.
I don't know if I could afford
it was
leatherbound either.
We'll see.
The hyping up of the reveal that made him interested,
yes.
right?
Yes,
sure,
exactly.
So okay, I do need to back up a little bit more of the positive things I was saying about the series, though. Despite a lot of my complaints, again, I definitely have a lot of criticisms. Overall, I feel like Jordan did a really good job of telling a very nuanced story with a very interesting world. Some pretty well developed characters, even if they could be a little annoying sometimes, although that's probably just standard for literature in general. But he did a really good job of telling a very rich, very lore deep story, and I feel like when we were able to finally get the payoff of the conclusion that Sanderson finalized for Jordan after his passing, it was very good. It's like I said, it's a series everyone should read for multiple reasons. Just maybe some books are worth skipping. Book 10 at least.
Yeah,
consider that.
I mean, the very fact that Branderson has had a hand in finishing it is very enticing, to say the least. So, yeah. I mean, that's definitely. There are other books that are my priority right now, but I would love to get to that one eventually, and maybe, who knows, maybe at that point I will have enough to afford the leatherbound ones once maybe they have an entire complete set of it. I'm not going to say I'm not rich, because I'm very rich when it comes to having a wonderful family and the things that I need.
Wow. Now you're just trying to flex on it.
That's right.
Sweet, man. Of course, I was talking monetarily.
Oh, I know. I'm just giving you guys a hard time.
As you should. Well, should we move on? Let's talk about what we loved about Dragonsteel Nexus, huh? Let's start with you, Austin. You obviously wanted to say something. Let's go.
What I loved about Dragonsteel Nexus, I loved all of the opportunities to socialize and to really meet new people, to talk with people, to share our, to share our voice, both in the panels through Q&A, but also just out on the floor, getting to talk to people, ask them questions, doing different games with people. There's the detritus floor where you could play a variety of games, including the new Mistborn deck building game, which I got my hands on. I'm so excited to play it.
Look forward to seeing that on the channel as well.
We'll do that on the channel. Tease for you guys. We will do something with the Mistborn deck building game.
Absolutely.
So stay tuned for those who are interested.
If you haven't seen our unboxing video, you can also check it out. It's on our channel live right now. So
yeah. Now we were talking earlier about the entire side quest passport thing. I thought that was a brilliant idea. It also gave us the opportunity to go out and visit other booths. I know, Anthony, you had mentioned that's not something you would normally do at these conventions, but this kind of got you out there, got you exploring, talking with people, maybe seeing some some artwork or some content creators that you normally wouldn't have been able to meet. And so again, this whole socializing aspect it was a strong it made a strong case for the enjoyment factor for me.
it also would make you make a few purchases you weren't necessarily planning on.
Yeah.
If you're me.
I mean, it's true. Again, I would not have ever even known about that gem art thing unless the book had made me go do something that exposed me to it. So it was it accomplished its purpose in getting us to break out of our usual molds, our usual routines.
Yeah.
Besides the fact that I don't tend to be a convention person in general. Dragonsteel just happens to be an exception because it's it already checks the box for, wow, I love this source material. But yeah, they did a really good job of taking it to the next level and making everything a lot more interesting.
Yeah.
This whole passport thing, this whole experience, along with the trading cards, which we're going to get into in a little bit.
Yeah.
But my gosh, like totally blew Dragonsteel 2023 out of the water. Not even close. I loved Dragonsteel 2023, but I did end up leaving early both days. But I found myself here in this situation. I stayed almost the entire time. The entire time for
today.
Except for today. Yeah, it's ending in about 15 minutes. So
yes, so obviously we're not there. But
oh man, that's
loved it. I loved it.
I was gonna say next year it's going from the 4th to the 6th, which I'm really happy for because it won't fall on my daughter's birthday, which is today. It was the 7th, and so I had to, spend some of the day at Dragonsteel, my daughter's first birthday. And I was like, oh man! But
next their daughter's first birthday.
Yeah, next year. Well, yeah, we still made enough time to celebrate and make a little celebration. But next year I'll have the whole day for her, and so I that's one thing I'm looking forward to. If I do end up going, honey, please, if you're watching this, I would love to go.
I want to go too.
I'll bring you maybe next time.
By then we'll have him properly.
What was that?
Say what?
I said by then we'll have him properly schooled.
Yes,
that's right.
Yes.
Hopefully,
meaning you,
me.
That's true.
I will get caught up in all of the things.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
The trading card. That's what I was going to bring.
Yes.
I was going to go back to that.
Go ahead, Austin. Yep, go.
Well, I was just going to give people a little sample. We'll definitely do a little more on the stream in the future. We'll have our very own deck building, storytelling.
We worked so hard for you guys, especially those that were not able to go to Dragonsteel to collect all these cards, because these cards contain 3 Cosmere short stories that have never been read before.
Yeah. So each
one
color
from
represents a different one. So the rock one over here is like a Lopin story, which I say rock one, but you can't really tell unless you're looking at the edges really closely. Here, let me pull one out for you. And you can see there's like words on the card that give you kind of that.
It's literally a book.
Yeah, that gives you that
art
story.
on the back too.
Very, very. It's like a novella light.
Yes.
Yeah, and if you put them all together on your sheet on your page, and it forms kind of a picture. So
again, we weren't able to get that nice book storage thing.
We will eventually, and then we can
show you.
Try and display that for you. One of our panelists, Lisa, did get one of the booklets, so maybe we can have her showcase for us at some point.
Yes,
but yeah, each deck consisted of 54 cards, or at least 54 story cards, and each of them, they could be laid out in a 3x3 grid that, so like cards 1 through 9 would form one complete picture, and then so on and so forth
of the story. Hold on, let me.
So this one, for example, is 1 out of 54. You can see down here on the bottom. It's kind of hard to see. Let me back it up just a little. Focus, camera, focus. It's not looking for my face. My face is here. Now the card is here. Go read it.
It says the Chasm Friends get a pet.
Chasm Friends instead of Chasm Fiends.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Those cards look awesome from David's son. Yeah, they are awesome.
Yeah. The artwork is really, really well done. And put them together.
There we go.
Form some really awesome pictures. Here's another one.
So one's Lopin, one's Chasm Friends, and this one Oh, that's still Chasm Friends, right? Nice. That
Yep.
focus. That was good. Lovely. And then
What
there's
the
one
heck? Why did
more.
that one focus so well? Look, this one. Yeah. Focus.
Just give it up, man.
Give it up. Give it up,
force-
you.
No,
oh my
okay.
gosh. Yeah, it's not going to do it.
Oh, there. That's not bad. Not bad. You guys can read that.
Yep. There we go. That's way better.
As long as I can stay still.
And the crackety planes. Oh my gosh. I'm excited to read these.
Anyway.
And then the last one is about Yasna.
Yes. Yeah,
I
the Yasna one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yasna one is this like orangey purple color here.
And again, it's called something that I never remember.
Elsecaster. Elsecaller.
Elsecaller.
Yeah,
that's
it's
right.
her order of knights.
Oh, that's like, you can't even tell what that is. Looks like teeth. You know.
There we go.
But again, it makes a lot more sense when you have all of the cards. This is my duplicate, so this isn't the full set. So I have my full set in the individual card boxes. Yeah. But
so we'll have to show you guys the full 3x3 layout for each picture once.
And then we'll read you the story. We'll go through each one.
Yes, we're going to read all these stories. Look forward to that.
Yeah.
We worked very hard for those.
Yes.
Combined effort.
Yeah.
Thank you, Anthony, and everybody else.
My cards to Austin.
There were a lot of people that helped us. So, and I mean, we left you our cards. So if you're now watching our video, shout out to you guys. Thank you for your help in trading cards. Again, huge social aspect.
Absolutely.
This was really cool opportunity
it was awesome.
to get
out. It really
out
brought people together.
Yeah, it really did. And Brandon Sanderson himself said, he's like, this is the whole point of the convention. So do it, you know.
Yeah.
I overheard some people talk. I think they were at our table, but they were saying Brandon Sanderson and Dan Wells did not understand or know or expect the cards to be a massive success. The massive success that it was.
They are. Yeah.
And I completely agree that it was madness. It was a madhouse in there. Everyone with cards. I didn't even go to a lot of panels this year like I did last year. Last year I went to a bunch of panels. This year I didn't even go to hardly any because I was just so sucked in to getting all these stamps, collecting all the cards so I could have content on our channel to read these stories to our audience. And that was my sole purpose, was to give content to you. So look forward to it because we are excited.
I'm going to say that not all of us had as much of an altruistic motivation as Steven did. I was doing it for the channel, but also for me, because those stories, when you talk about them being actual Cosmere legitimate, that's all I need. Now, just to jump a little bit into some spoilery territory here for a second. So spoiler warning. So the Chasm Friends one.
Yeah, what kind of spoilers are we talking about? Like post Words of Radiance?
The ones from the card.
Oh,
so if you have not finished Words of Radiance, you're gonna get spoilers. It's not gonna spoil anything. Oathbringer forward. Okay. All right. You've been warned. So the Chasm Friends one is just for the fun of it. It's just a silly little kind of from the perspective of the Chasm Fiends, but they're cutesy. So it's just, that one's just for fun. But the other two,
no spoilers there,
are different perspectives of events that really did happen in the first two books, or I think Words of Radiance specifically. So the one from about Yasna is the moment, and I'm going to close your ears if you want spoilers. Go ahead, Anth. The moment when she travels to Shadesmar after the events of Wind's Pleasure. That's how I'll put it.
There you go.
I'll just leave it at that.
Nice. That was good.
That is a fascinating thing to get more info on, because that was a big part of book 2, and so I'm really excited to see more of the details there. And then the other one, less maybe main plot relevant, but still kind of fun, is the part when Lopen is taking care of a certain royal figure in Little Herdaz in the war camps. So just fun little side stories, or even less, not so much side stories that just really tie into the main plot. That's just super fun. Honestly, there was there was a lot of different variants of the cards there. So I mean, like there was 54 of each story, so 54 times 3 for the different stories. But then there were also 9 heralds. Those didn't have stories at all. They were just collectible items.
Those heralds, man.
Pretty coveted. Those were like the wild cards for trades if you could negotiate well.
Very well.
There were.
You had to give your car away to get a card.
There were nonsense cards.
There were nonsense cards. Nonsense where they had silly annotations.
Red. There's a red stamp on the card here. There, let me hold it this way.
That is the hollow version makes it hard to see.
Yes, that is not a herald card. That is a 100%. What was it called?
It's hollow.
100%.
It's a hollow.
That is yes. Holographic.
So beautiful holographic cards that are shiny. So yeah, Davidson. You mentioned, beautiful, but these are awesome with the shininess, but then it also has the nonsense stamp on the top right.
Stamp. Yep.
Oh, sorry, my reflection of the ring light is making it really hard to see. There you go.
There we go. It says 100% nonsense.
So there was quite a few variants. If you think about it, the potential for variants, let's see, for any given story card, you could have a normal version, you could have a nonsense version, you could have a hollow version, and you could have a hollow nonsense version. So there's technically 4 sets, 4 variants. For each of just one part of the 54 story cards. So there were a lot of people who were trying to pace down those rare ones,
getting all the rare ones. Yep.
And I was like, good luck. For me, that's the funny thing. I think the rarest cards. Well, the rarest cards were the heralds, but the next after that were the nonsense cards.
Yep.
Yes.
And people were trying pretty hard to get those. I'm over here just being like, the highest value card are the stories, because I'm here for the
content.
We
want the lore.
Yeah. So for me, I'm just like, you want a nonsense card? Here, have it. Just as long as you give me that story card I'm missing. Anyway, it was funny though. It got a little cutthroat in some parts.
So here's an example of what Anthony's talking about. So this one is a 24, number 24 out of 54, non-hollow, nonsense, no nonsense.
That's a legit story card.
This is a legit story card, but the 24 out of 54, right?
Right.
So, but I also have a 24 out of 54 hollow card, as you can see on the bottom here, 2454. And it is also a nonsense card. So the story on this card is going to be a little bit different than the 2454 no nonsense.
Yes.
And it's also shiny. You could also have a nonsense card that is not holographic. So there's a lot of variety in the different cards that make it more rare or more of a collector's item. So anyway,
we have
the worst of all were the hollow heralds.
Oh my god!
The hollow herald, yes.
The hollow heralds. Everyone was asking about those. Everyone was asking for those at our table. People just walked by and do you have any hollow heralds? Especially the what was it? Number 7, 8, 9.
7, 8, and 9 were the most rare. I gave one of my 8s for a 7. In fact, I traded that in order to get. I traded my 7 away, so now I no longer have one of the rare 7s. But I got almost all of the story cards that I needed that were left. I had like 15 or 10 cards that were left that I needed to have all the stories. So huge props to those guys that shared that. Davidson asked a good question. He said, I'm super curious since I couldn't attend the convention. Did you hear any details about the Dragonsteel ball while you were there? None of us attended the ball, unfortunately.
No. I want to do that with my wife next year.
Same.
But no, they didn't really say much other than the most I saw. It was a separately ticketed event, so you had to buy tickets for it as well. There were a lot of people in fancy cosplay, and it looked cool. The lines were pretty long to get in, from what I saw. And there were signs out front that said something about potential for being recorded. Mm-hmm. So it sounds like it was pretty exclusive and pretty
My
that was
understanding from what other people had described was they had reenactments from people like Vin and Elend and a lot of characters from the Mistborn, the books, the first era at least, and I think they mentioned Hoyt or something was on a barrel, standing on a rolling barrel and joking about people. Was that at the
insulting
ball?
people.
He was insulting
I don't
people
remember.
in the
I don't
crowd.
remember.
That sounds like something that they would match up because
Yes,
it would fit
that sounds
very
amazing.
well with like Stormlight 1, the Wave Kings.
Yes,
Yeah.
that would have been
Yeah.
awesome.
So
We also heard that there was a Windrunners dance at one point. A bunch of Windrunners came in and did a dance.
yeah,
Obviously, Adolin and Shallan. Dalinar wasn't Dalinar. I don't remember. Basically, everyone except for Renarin. Renarin was not there.
it's not there. Yeah.
He was again forgotten son. Poor guy. Everyone else was there. But yeah, it sounded like a great event. The people we've talked to, some of them went to the ball, so we did some interviews. You'll see those videos again, like I said, a little bit later. But everyone we talked to that went to the ball said that the ball was their favorite part of the convention. So it sounds like it was awesome. And I believe one person said they enjoyed the food. I don't know about the others, but sounds like the food was good from the opinion that we heard. And yeah, it just sounds like a great time. It's just we were not able to go this year.
I wonder how much extra the tickets are. Maybe
Wasn't it
I could start saving up.
150 person? I remember thinking it was $300 if I took me and my wife
Okay, I mean that
on top of your Dragonsteel ticket,
right.
because you have to have a Dragonsteel ticket to go to the ball. So it was too much for me to justify.
That is crazy.
So
Yeah, it was a lot of money.
it was a lot of money.
Time to start saving.
Yeah.
Start now. You know it's coming. They said there's going to be one every year, and they've announced the dates. Let's go. Start saving your money.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else we need to talk about from Dragonsteel 2024?
Well, I mean, you can't ignore the best thing of all, Wind and Truth. I haven't started reading it yet
Where's my phone?
because
It's over
I
there.
am. Oh, sorry. Let's put up this comment from Davidson real quick, and then I'll move on.
Wait.
Curious
Was that
since
the
I
one we
couldn't.
already-
Oh no, that's not the one. No. It's the latest.
Oh, it's
one.
the new
I
one.
feel
Oh,
like
I see
I
it.
heard-
It didn't pop up until just now. There we go.
I feel like I heard the actors are performing canon story events that weren't in the books. What?
Dang.
So many.
I'm sure we'll hear
exclusive
about it, or
things.
people will post videos. I'm sure there will be some info on it. Maybe
I just need to get on the forums more. I mean, this is stuff I care about enough that I'd like to just see what I've been missing. Yeah,
yeah.
Yep. So
that would be cool.
Wind and Truth. Me and
Awesome.
myself and
Okay.
I.
Yeah,
I'm not
you're the
gonna
only
say
one who
anything.
started it.
No spoilers. I'm on chapter 13.
Cool. Yeah. So you've already begun. Do you know how many chapters there are total?
I can check. But I can tell you, being on chapter 13 right now, on chapter 13, I have 57 hours and 14 minutes left.
Okay.
Okay.
Decent amount.
57 hours and 14 minutes.
Yeah.
So
And
you're
that's just being on
effectively
chapter 13.
1/8 through the story.
Yes. It's crazy.
So multiply
I can see
13
how
by
many
8 to get a
chapters
rough
are.
estimate.
There are 147 chapters, plus an epilogue and a
Nice.
prologue.
Wow. 147.
Oh, it's super easy.
When it
Barely
comes
anything against
to
stuff like
epic fantasy, especially when it's the conclusion to a major story arc, I'm here for it. Make it as long as you want, as long as it's all good.
And give me all the details.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I there was the opportunity to buy the book there, I believe. There were a lot of people there that were going for it. I wasn't tempted to get it now because I'm nowhere near ready to read it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's still sitting at the start of Oathbringer.
I haven't even started it. I need to crack that book open and start Oathbringer. So
Look,
that's
I'm
where
going
I
to start
am.
getting on your back about getting on that Oathbringer.
Yeah, I'm going to need to get all the way off my back. Let me get off that thing.
Get off that thing. Oh, man.
Yeah, and I haven't started Wind and Truth yet because I'm trying to be really disciplined about my commitment to do a full reread of the series in prep for this conclusion. So I'm still kind of near the beginning of Rhythm of War. I was trying to move through it quickly, but adulting does what adulting does. Anyway, so I want to stick it through, especially because as a personal opinion, Rhythm of War was the one I probably had the most struggles connecting with the first time through, but the reasons for it, I feel like I'm going to feel very differently about this time. And I can't say why, because they're spoilers. Mm-hmm. But so far, what I've been reading, I've been finding myself to be vindicated in that expectation, because there's just a number of things that are hitting extremely differently. And it's on a really good trajectory. I mean, now that I'm seeing it in a different light, there's a part of me that wonders if it's going to start inching near the top of of my favorites. But I'm also hoping that Wind and Truth takes the cake quite handily once I get to it. I insist that I'm going to give Rhythm of War a full extra chance before I go to my beautiful Wind and Truth sitting right there on the shelf taunting.
Wow. I think that's very honorable of you, Anth.
Yeah, well, I am a windrunner, so
that's right.
I took the quiz again just to be sure, because I took the quiz years ago and I got Windrunner, and then I was like, I want to make sure that I actually did that properly. So I took it again, and I was a little bit more nuanced. Still Windrunner.
Oh, you know what? There's a question.
That, I guess.
There's a question for any of our viewers. This will be the last question because we're going to call it here pretty soon. But if you're watching, I'm curious. What is your order? Let us know.
Yeah,
Go take the quiz if you haven't. I hadn't taken it until this event, so I just took it. I am a Stone Ward, which I thought was really funny because based on some past remarks, the whole toe Lenalot. I broke my toe, and Anthony had made some comments about. Oh, go ahead.
I got to tell this story because it's actually kind of good. Yeah.
Do it. Please,
all right.
Please.
So rewind a few weeks. I'll make this quick. Rewind a few weeks. Austin and I were prepping to do a Spartan Beast in Arizona.
Which is basically a marathon, but on a trail with obstacles. So it's a big deal. You had to train for like all year.
Yes, half marathon. But
yes. Sorry. Yeah.
Yes. Don't want to take double the credit here.
No. Half marathon, but still,
half marathon is
basically
still huge.
Doing
it's huge. It's not easy.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so that was actually that was just a few weeks ago. 3 weeks ago now.
Yeah.
No,
mid-November.
Less than that. Anyway, it's been a little bit. But Austin had the very sad misfortune of breaking his toe just like a week and a half before we left. He still came, and glad of his company, but he just ended up volunteering. So we were really sad for him. So we're going to get him there next year. And anyhow, I decided to make it to try and kind of lighten the mood. I don't know, like not in an insensitive way. I gave it some space, but eventually he was talking about the idea of I still kind of want to try running. This was kind of earlier on, and my response, I said to him, that I props to you if you do that. If you actually end up doing that, I'm going to call you To Lenalot Elin, the bearer of agonies. Pretty solid wordplay, if I do say so myself.
That was amazing.
I thought it was awesome. I didn't catch on at first.
He didn't have the full context at the time. But once I explained it to him, he's like,
I just thought it was so funny because then I took this quiz and I got a Stoneward. I was like, okay, but who in the books is a Stoneward? And he was like, oh, Tom. I was like, Tom, the same guy that you said he would tell him a lot.
Yeah.
So funny.
He didn't end up earning the title, but you know what? I tried to talk. I talked him out of it anyway. We all did because we didn't want him to like permanently destroy his toe. So
No, we don't.
But
Yeah,
And
but
I
I
am an
went down and I
enhancer.
still volunteered and I still walked on that dang thing all day
Dude.
long, and I was
For 3
even here-
days.
It's still hurting to this day, guys. Like I went to this Dragonsteel Nexus, like hobbling, just walking around, just limping. It was
Okay,
hard.
so you know
It
what?
was hard.
You did earn it then.
Oh,
Why?
In fact,
absolutely.
you earned it at the place you should have earned it, at Dragonsteel Nexus.
Yes,
that
he
is when
did.
you became
Yes.
Tolenolot Ilin.
There you go.
And just so everyone knows in the comments, or whoever else is watching, I am an edge dancer. Matches my personality perfectly.
Steven's
No.
just so edgy.
I am very
So
edgy.
edgy.
I'm very slick. And I'm full of personality, and I love healing people. Let's see. I think that's it. I haven't seen any comments on what order of radiance everyone is, but I'd love to hear it, even after the fact, even after the stream. So let us know, if you're watching this after the fact, what order of radiance you are. And yeah, I think that wraps everything up, right? Anything else you want to say about Dragonsteel?
I'm sure there's so much we could dwell on, but we'll definitely release some other videos in the future showcasing kind of everything that we experienced and some of the highlights of our journey there.
I'll be starting
Yeah,
this
there's a lot of
weekend.
good stuff. But there's definitely a lot of good stuff to talk about. I think we should definitely put a pin in it for now, so we don't tire our kind listeners. But I think we can probably conclude it this way. Dragonsteel Nexus 2024 was amazing. It was a super cool experience, and there's a lot of cool things to look forward to. So we'd love to hear more of what, for those of you who got to attend, what you loved about it, what your experience was like. And
Yes.
for those of you who didn't, but are still excited for some of the things that we learned, tell us your thoughts and what you're looking forward to. So a lot of cool, just nerdy fun things to share.
And again, look forward. We're going to read those 3 stories to you very soon. We're going to have a playthrough of Mistborn, the deck building game. A lot of, and obviously, Wind and Truth content. I mean, come on, we're all reading it. Well, I'm reading it, but we're all going to give our thoughts on it really soon.
Eventually, I might have to skip those discussions.
That's true, unfortunately. Dang it, Austin.
Dang it.
But Austin might be able to catch up. But anyway, and again, thank you so much for watching. Everyone that's still here, thank you so much for watching all the way through. We really appreciate you and all your support. Thank you again so much for subscribing to our channel throughout all of this Dragonsteel convention. For everyone that we extended the invitation to, thank you so much for joining us. And we hope you enjoy the content here at Simply Nerdy. And yeah, I think that's all. And if you're not subscribed yet and you're still watching, please consider subscribing, liking, and ringing the notification bell so you know when we go live or come up with another video. And until next time, everyone,
Keep it
keep
nerdy.
it nerdy.